In this video, I'm going to share 4 tricks to help you sound scholarly and professional in your writing. The first trick is to avoid contractions. Now, contractions are when 2 words are combined into one. So, example, isn't is really the 2 words is and not combined. So, instead of writing isn't in your paper, you should write is not. Can't should be cannot, etc. Now, the second trick is to remove unnecessary or casual words. So, one casual word that I constantly see in papers that shouldn't be there is well. You should never use well as a transition. Now, other examples of kind of filler words are words like very and really. A lot of times we add them to writing because we think it will emphasize our point. We'll say something like, the writer made a very convincing argument. But really, if we take the word very out, our writing will come across as much more clear and emphatic. The writer made a convincing argument. Now, you should also try to replace informal words with their formal counterparts. So, kids should be children, TV should be television, teenager could be adolescent. The third trick has to do with names. You should always refer to people by their last name, and especially in APA format, you will never use first names. You should also not include academic titles or the person's degree. So you wouldn't say something like Dr. Johnson wrote an engaging article, or you wouldn't say Johnson, who has a PhD, wrote an engaging article. You would just say Johnson wrote an engaging article. Now, when it comes to non academic titles, you may use these with the person's name, especially the first time you introduce the source. So, non academic titles are things like Reverend, Apostle, Pope, President, or Chairman. The fourth and final trick is to use the right pronouns. So, academic and formal writing is always written in the third person. We use words like he, she, it, they, and we. And what's even better is if you can use more specific kind of pronouns, like words like people, society, students, Americans, etc. So, you could say they need to ensure our schools are safe, but it would be better if you could say politicians need to ensure our schools are safe. Now, the one pronoun that is never used in formal writing is you. This is considered too casual or even presumptive. So you might write, as a parent, you can never be too careful with who teaches your child. But it would be better to say, as parents, we can never be too careful who teaches our children. It's just a subtle shift that just says that you're addressing really parents and you're not assuming that your reader has children. Now, the last pronoun to avoid using is I. You can use it occasionally if you absolutely need to make your position clear, maybe in contrast to what your source is saying. But in general, statements that begin I think, I believe, I feel, the I can be removed. So if I have the sentence that says, I think gun control is a good idea, I could just as easily say, gun control is a good idea and get my point across. Now, that's the 4 tricks I have, and what I'm going to do in the rest of the video is just give you a little tip for how you can remove these little in Word or Google Docs. So if you search for you or I or the apostrophe or very and really, you can then easily let the software find those issues for you and remove them. And you can also use the keyboard shortcuts Control F or Command F. So here's an example from a student paper where I've kind of inserted some errors. What I'll do is go up to Edit and go Find and Replace, and I have my little box here. And the first word I'm going to search for is you. And you can see that here it's highlighted young, but that's correct. But here I have a U. And instead of this U, I could just then replace and say Christians can do more. If I wanted to look for contractions, I could just type in the little apostrophe and it'll pop this up. Now, this is correct here because I'm showing possession, but right up here I see I have a don't, so I could just change this to do not. And then lastly, let's see if I have any varies in there, and I do, and what this means is that I can then just remove the vary. So that's an easy way to let technology help you proofread and help you write stronger essays that sound more professional.